Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm laughing because I literally did about 5 minutes into this video and I realized that I hadn't hit the record button. So yeah, that sums up the way my life is going right now and why it's taking me such a long time to even be able to post anything. But I got you guys, I'm back. As you can see, this isn't my background either. That's another story, but that's gonna be for another day. And now that I notice, yeah, I have like a mess back there. Pillows thrown. There's my nephew's blanket. I was actually gonna make the bed, but then I was like, you know what? I don't ever make my bed ever in real life, so I don't ever want to be something on YouTube that I'm not. Like, oh, let me make my bed so I can make this look good. No, I don't ever make my bed, so I didn't make it because I wanted you guys to see that the real me all the time. So hay un reguero allá atrás because that's just how I am. I've never understood the whole making the bed thing. I know for some people it's like a big deal, like you have to do it because it like sets the mood, it sets your day, but listen, whether I make my bed or not, my day is still gonna go exactly the same. So aquí está, viste. I didn't make my bed and I'm still being productive. Así que, anyways, moving on. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Biggie. Welcome. I definitely got a story time for you guys today. But before I get into my story, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and definitely turn on that bell notification. So today's gonna be a quick story because you guys are always asking me what's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me or that I go through or whatnot. And I really don't have a story like that. I'm just trying to think, like, I really racked my brain to try to think, like, what is something embarrassing that has happened to me that I can talk about? And I really couldn't, because not that I don't get embarrassed, but I'm not easily embarrassed. And when I do get embarrassed, it's something quick. Like, usually I'll say a joke and I'm like, okay, you know, because I like to make people laugh. And then I'll be like, oh my God, this is a great joke. And then I'll say it. And then, like, I'm like, and nobody's laughing. And I'm like, And that's something that it'll be embarrassing for me because I can tell that nobody laughed. But then that's it. It's not worthy of like a story time. So I really had to rack my brain, like, what is something that really did embarrass me that stuck? And I finally came up with a story for you guys. So this actually happened, I think, around 2014 or 15, because I had just cut my hair. Like, I have long hair now, and you guys are, if you're new and you've never seen me before, I haven't always had hair like this. There was a time, 2014, I literally like chopped off all my hair. I'm talking about, like, I had a fade, I had a faux hawk, I would do comb overs. I mean, for about 4 years, I really had a lot of fun having short hair. With that being said, my old church, someone passed away. I think it was one of my friend's fathers. And I had grown, you know, we had gone to the same church for so long, and I felt like, Dito, of course I'm gonna come to the funeral. For the most part, anytime anyone passes away from my old church, I always try my best to go to the funerals. I always try to go because we all grew up together. Whether we talk now, whether we don't talk anymore, whether we're not even in contact, the moment my mom tells me, hey, you know who's such and such passed away, I'm like, oh my God, let me go to the funeral. If I didn't go, it's something must have been happening in my life so busy that I couldn't take the time out to go. But for the most part, I always go to the funeral. So that's why I was there. But I didn't want to go because of the count of my hair. I thought about my hair. I thought about the way I looked, and I was like, man, like, I know my church people know that I'm gay, but like now I really look gay type of thing, whatever, you know how they say. I just felt like for a minute, I actually thought that I would be uncomfortable. I'm like, man, es que de verdad que I really wouldn't want them to see me like this. Yeah, they see me in pictures on Instagram or whatever, but now they got to see me in person. What if somebody says something to me? But then I'm like, Biggie, it's a funeral. Nobody's going to say anything to you because this is not the place. And if somebody would have said something, I would have easily been like, esto no es el lugar. And then I thought about it. I'm just like, it's a funeral. I really don't think, I'm hoping that nobody's really gonna sit there and like tell me something about my hair when we're all trying to just grieve the loss of this person. But luckily nobody did. It was my church people were always very kind to me. So when I went there, everybody was just like, oh my God, you're here. Oh my God, mira, gracias por venir. Thank you for coming. And then I went to talk to my friends whose father had passed away, and I went to say hi to them, and they were like, oh my God, you're here. And I'm like, of course I'm here. You know, I came to pay my respects, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And you know, I was just in the moment, like I was just really worried about, like, listen, I want to make sure that my friends were okay. So then I walked up to the casket. I saw the person in the casket. You like look at that and you're like, man, my friend's dad passed away. You know, it's one of those things that you're grieving with your friends, because I remember that guy being nice to me. Oh, I'm walking away from the casket, and as I'm walking, there's a little kid, and he's like, come here. And I'm like, is it me? So I'm looking around and I'm like, me? And he's like, come here. come here. He like desperately wanted to say hi to me, and I'm like, all right, I mean, he wants to get my attention. ¿Qué le pasa, nene? So I bend down and I'm like, remember, this is a funeral with a lot of church people at that. I bend down and I'm like, ¿Qué pasó, papito? He's like, are you a boy or a girl? I'm like, yo, my face. I'm like, oh my God. I thought about all the different scenarios of the things that could happen with all these church people, and never once did I think maybe a kid will ask me something like this. No. So of course, you know, he said it so loudly that a lot of people looked, and I'm just like, like, yo me quería morir. I'm like, trágame tierra. But it is a little kid. I think the kid was like, he had to have been like my nephew's age, maybe like 5 or 6. And I'm like, I can't get mad at a kid. You know what I mean? Of course, to him, I look very different from what he's used to, from what we see every day on a daily basis, even on TV. You know, so I'm just like, all right. So I answered his question. Oh, before I answered his question, he was sitting next to his grandma, or he was standing next to his grandma. And she said, mira, no haga. And she was, I think, more embarrassed than me. So I'm like, pobrecito, the kid is getting beat because he was just curious if I was a boy or a girl. And then I'm like, no, está bien, está bien. And I'm like, papito, I'm a girl. And he's like, oh, I don't really think it made a difference. I really still think that he was so confused. I think I traumatized that kid too. He's probably like, wait a minute. Let's think about this, guys. Every girl here has long hair. Every boy here has short hair. And then she has short hair, but she has like, what's going on? I don't know. Maybe he probably didn't sleep well that night. I don't know what I did to that kid. All I know is that I don't think his life after that was ever the same. But, or maybe I opened his eyes. I don't know. But I just know that pobrecito, his grandmother just beat him. No, she didn't beat him. I was just joking. Like, she like spanked him. You know, like, no haga eso. But it's like, I couldn't get mad because I'm like I said, he was just curious. It was a genuine question. Okay, so then I walked back and I'm just sitting down, you know, okay, so the funeral was over. And then I'm walking out and his mom came to see me and she's like, ay, nena, mira, my mom told me que él dijo. And I was like, listen, I even cut her off. I was like, listen, you don't have to say sorry. Like, girl, you're good. And she's like, no, but Biggie, I'm so sorry. I was like, girl, you're fine. And trust me, like, I can't get bothered with something like that. I was like, listen, I go through it all the time, which I did. I wasn't lying to her when I said that. I just didn't want to experience that in front of church people. But it happened everywhere I went. Like, people would be like, excuse me, sir. And I would turn around and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So it's kind of like an awkward moment because you're like, should I have said that? Like, I'm so sorry. Like, is it, you know, because people are thinking like they don't know what to do. Like, are you trying to be a boy? Are you just got short hair? Like, what's going on here? And people really do feel awkward. And then I feel awkward. It's like, it's awkward from both ends because I'm just like, listen, like, we're cool, man. Let's just keep it moving. But she felt really genuinely bad. She apologized to me profusely and I'm like, listen, you don't have to apologize, like, you're fine. But, and that's it, we just kept it moving. But it always makes me laugh because I always think about that day and I'm just like, man, that kid really was like, come here. But that's it, guys. That's the only thing that I could think of that was like one of the most embarrassing moments. But it's kind of like one of those things like, well, I mean, of course you're gonna get embarrassed. I mean, if you have short hair, that's the kind of things that are gonna happen. And it happened to me. Like, guys, I had short hair for 4 years. Not only that, even on my Instagram videos, like, I would always film from like my neck up. So I would always do my videos like this, and even the comments. And then I have a deep voice. So it was like short hair with a deep voice, and I would only show like from this part up. So I kind of really wouldn't show my chest. So the comments, people would be like, man, this person is so funny, or this, oh, I see this person all the time. Like, you would see that people wouldn't really try to specify what I was because they were like, I don't know what she is, if she's a boy or girl, and I don't want to disrespect. But then there was people that was always like, oh my God, I see this person all the time. Is this a boy or a girl? I'm so confused. And then it was always arguments on the comments. Like, obviously you can tell it's a girl. And then other people were like, well, obviously not, because people are asking. So whatever joke I had made in the video, it was completely disregarded because all the arguments in the comments were always like, if she's a boy or she's a girl. So I got that for like the first 4 years of my career. Now that I have long hair, it's so much easier because people just know. And I know it's like a big controversy because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, this is why you got to teach kids this and this and that. And I'm just a real big believer that a kid should just be a kid. You know what I mean? Even if it's something about God, or it's something about gays, or something about politics, or whatever you want to teach your kid, is like, just let your kid be a kid. You know, just 5, 6 years old, you shouldn't be being taught something that sometimes a lot of the even adults don't comprehend. You know what I mean? But that's just my personal opinion. But I do teach John Del that people are different in this world. I teach him all the time, hey papito, you know, there's people that are tall, there's people that are short, there's big people, there's thin people, there's people. And then I did tell him about hair. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have sometimes see boys with long hairs, boys with short hair, girls, whatever. I went over all of that, but I don't specify the why. You know, like, you know, Titi has short hair one time because I like girls. Like, no, I don't get into all of that. He'll figure all of that stuff out when he's older. I do teach him, and I think it's important for us to teach kids that everybody does look different. I think to that moment, my friend's son, probably all the women that he had seen had always had long hair. So he was just like dumbfounded when he saw me, like, wait a minute. I gotta talk to it over there right quick. I don't take it personal now because it is what it is. Like, I knew that when I cut my hair, all of that was gonna happen. But anyways, yeah, so that's it for you guys. That's all I have. I think I was more embarrassed because it happened around church people. If it would have happened at somebody else's funeral, anywhere else, I would have been okay with it. But I think because it happened to me around church people, I think that's why it embarrassed me, because I had heard for 4 years, I had always heard, are you a boy, are you a girl? So that didn't bother me, and that's not what embarrassed me. I think what embarrassed me is that probably the church people were like, ¿Viste que la manda a recortarse ese pelo? Like, I don't know, that's what I kept on thinking at the back of my mind. But that's it, guys. I'm sorry that I don't have anything better for you, because I've heard some really crazy, embarrassing stories, and I'm like, yeah, I would die. But this is the only one. The moral of the story is, let kids be kids. You know what I mean? They're gonna ask crazy questions. They're gonna do crazy stuff like that. But at the end of the day, just teach them the basics, I guess I want to say. Anyways, guys, so I hope you like the story. I will definitely have some better stories for you guys coming soon.